And the final thing I'm going to read you is between Daniel and Max, and it's from Daniel's point of view. So this is a little bit further on in the book, but it doesn't really give anything away any more than I have already through talking about the book. So Max is a very, very good big brother, and it's another one of his people-pleasing things. He wants to be perfect, but it's a great relationship anyway. They talk all the time, and Daniel can't sleep one night because he's frustrated about what's happening to his family. And the point of the book and having 6 narrators and having all the family involved is that hiding a secret like this really does affect the entire family, and when a teenager comes of age, it affects the entire family and everyone has an opinion. So Daniel's feeling really upset that he doesn't know what's going on, but something is going on to his family and he can feel it. So Max comes in and tucks him in and lies on the bed next to him, and he falls asleep. And this is where this starts. And it's in Daniel's voice. Max falls asleep for a bit, but I want to ask him a question, so I poke him and he wakes up. Oh, what? He says. What's the scariest thing in the world, Max? Poltergeists. Max hisses funnily at me, and then does a big yawn. Do you want me to get the flashlight? No, no flashlight. I put my hand on his mouth to stop him from speaking about spooky stories. I mean the scariest real thing in the world. Poltergeists are real, he mumbles from behind my hand. No, they're not, I frown at him, and neither's Santa. Ouch, he says, and half laughs, even though this is totally inappropriate because it's disrespectful to the memory of Santa, who was real when we believed in him. Mum and Dad are so whispery these days. I want to know about grown-up stuff, I tell Max. What's the real scariest thing, Max? And you have to tell me out of loyalty. I must know. You promised never to lie to me again, and you did a pinky promise. Max looks at me. In the dark, his seaweed colour eyes are black with one small, thin oval of light from I don't know where. He breathes out, and I know he's going to tell me, so I take my hand away from his face, and I wait. He looks straight in my eye for a long time, then swallows and moves a little forward on the pillow. He thinks for a bit, and then he opens his mouth. The scariest thing is a secret, he says, very slowly and sort of rhythmically. How can a secret be scary? I ask scornfully, but wanting very much to know. Max swallows and breathes again and looks at me. He thinks a bit and bites his lip. Secrets are like invisible maggots, Max says slowly. No, they're like zombies, okay? They eat away at your brain. He touches my wrist. You know, like the zombies in Deadland. And then they get out, and they eat at your guts until you've got none. You've got no guts and you can't be brave. And they eat your vocal cords so you can't speak. You've got no voice. And they eat... What? What else do they eat? They get out of you, says Max, and they eat the air around you. They make it all thin so you can't breathe properly. And then they eat the other people around you. They eat Mum and Dad. Is that what's happening now? He pauses. Yeah, but you can't ask them about it, okay? Because then they'll know I've told you all this and they'll be mad at me. I swear I won't tell them, I say. What do you swear on? He says. I think. Both their lives. Wow, okay. We're both quiet for a minute, but then I have a question. All of them? Huh? Will it eat all of Mum and Dad until there's nothing left? No. He looks around like he's thinking. It eats bits of their souls and worries around, like goes around their brains, nibbling at their brain cells, so they get mean and snappy. Because that's what happens when your soul gets eaten. And the eating keeps them up at night because it hurts, so they get tired. And it eats at love and empathy, and all those things that bind you to other people get gnawed away at until they're thin and easily breakable. What's empathy? Empathy is where you understand other people, but you feel the understanding rather than think. It's different from sympathy. It's like where you can imagine yourself as the other person. Do you know what I mean? Like me and you, because sometimes I imagine I'm you. Do you? Yeah. Why? Says Max. I think. Because you're Max. And who's Max? Max is... I get confused. What doesn't he understand? Max is the best at World of War, and he knows everything. Max clears his throat. I think. Anyway, you're you. The thing that beats like a drum and says, I am Max, or I am Danny, I am Danny. You know, how you know you're you. Does it get that bit? Max's mouth is open and he looks at me and breathes in like a little whoosh. I don't know. Max, I want to know everything from now on. Even if it's scary, and even if you can't tell me right now and you take a bit of time, you have to tell me. Max stares at me for a minute like he's going to say something, but when he opens his mouth, he just says, really quietly, okay. Why are your eyes wet? I ask. Allergies, he says, and turns his face away from me. And we go to sleep, and I dream of assassinating secrets with bombs and nukes and a rifle with a silencer on the end. That's that. Thank you very much for listening.